Hello and welcome to another math video. We're talking about converting metric units. Now the metric system is based off of powers of 10, and so we are going to use a mnemonic to help us convert from one prefix or one unit to another. The mnemonic is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. And what that means is we can convert from any one unit, whether it's kilometers or hectometers or hectoliters or something like that, to any other prefixed unit in here just by moving the decimal. So we can either move the decimal to the right or we can move the decimal to the left, depending on which unit we're converting from and to. Now our base units, that can be any form of metric unit like a liter or a gram or a meter or a mole, any one of those metric units that you're likely to see in a science or a math class. The only way, the best way to explain this is just to dive right in. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try some examples here. So it says convert each length to the specified unit. We want to go from 4 meters to centimeters. We want to see, okay, how many centimeters are in 4 meters? The first thing what I want you to do is I want you to write down King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, and we're going to circle the B so that we know that that's our base unit. Let's think about this for a second. There's no prefix in front of the M. What that means is that we're at our base unit meters. That's where we are in kind of our mnemonic, and we want to turn this into centimeters. So we want to get to centimeters. We're asking ourselves, okay, how many times do we have to move and which direction? So we got to move from the base unit once, twice. We're going to move twice to the left. What that means is 4 meters is going to turn into, well, I'm going to move the decimal 2 times to the right. So if the decimal's right here, because this is 4 decimal meters, right, 4.0, I'm going to move my decimal twice to the right, and then that's where it is now. And I'm going to fill in the rest of these values with zeros. So 4 meters is really 400 centimeters. And that's because each meter has 100 centimeters in it. So we have 400 centimeters and 4 meters. Let's try another one. Let's go from kilometers to millimeters. So let's try kilometers to millimeters. I'm just going to erase all of this junk here. We're at kilo, and we want to get to milli. So how many times do I have to move the decimal? This mnemonic represents the number of times and which direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to move my decimal 6 times, and I have to move it to the right. So 2.3 kilometers is going to equal 2.3. Well, let's move it 6 times to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's where my decimal is now, and I'm going to fill the rest of them with zeros. Well, that looks like 2.3 kilometers is 2,300,000 millimeters. It's 2,300,000 millimeters. The system really is kind of just that easy. You identify where you are on this mnemonic, you identify where you want to go, and then you figure out how many steps and what direction do I have to go. Let's try another one. We want to go from centimeters to, well, there's no prefix in front of the M, So this has to be our base unit of meters. So I'm going to go from centimeters to our base unit of meters. That looks like 1, 2, so 2 to the left. So 600 centimeters. If that's where the decimal is, 600, I'm going to move the decimal twice to the left. So that's my new decimal. So this is 6.00 meters, or just 6 meters. Now, if we're not worried about significant digits, then we can just drop all the zeros after the decimal point. But if we are worried about significant digits, which we're not in Math 10C, we can write 6.00, or we can just write 6 meters. Let's try a different one. Let's go from millimeters here to meters. We're going to skip this next one. So we're going to try 1,000 millimeters, and we're going to see how many meters that is. So we're starting at milli, and we want to go to meters, which is our base unit. Well, that looks like 1, 2, 3, 3 to the left. So if I have 1,000 millimeters, if I were to move this decimal 1, 2, 3 to the left, that's 1 meter. Perfect. 1 meter. Let's do a couple last examples. Let's turn, this one looks really complicated here. So let's turn 6 million centimeters into kilometers. Just because it looks complicated, I think it'll be fun for us to do. So we want to go from centi to kilometers. We want to go from centi to kilo. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left. So my new decimal is going to be 60 decimals. So 60, so 60 kilometers. 6 million centimeters is actually 60 kilometers. Now, some of these are a little bit trickier. They're not that much trickier, but they are a little bit trickier. I'm just going to rewrite my King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, and I'm going to circle the B. So some of these are a little bit trickier, but just think of this as 6 meters, and then we're just going to add on 2 centimeters at the very end. So we want to take 6 meters and turn it into centimeters. So 6 meters, well, if we're going meters, which is our base unit, and we want to turn it into centimeters, so we've got to go 2 to the right. So 1, 2, so that'll be 600 centimeters. But I have to remember I'm adding on 2 centimeters at the very end. So this is 602 centimeters. So it's really not that complicated. You're just adding on a little tiny amount at the end. Same thing here, 4 meters into millimeters. So if we're starting at meters and we want to go to millimeters, that's 3 to the right. So I'm going to go 4 meters, 1, 2, 3 to the right is 4,000 millimeters. 4,000 millimeters, but since I'm adding on 30 at the end, it's 4,030 millimeters. Same thing here, 9 meters, so 9 meters. I'm going to go from our base unit to millimeters. That's 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3. So that's 9,000 millimeters, but I'm adding 420 on the end. 9,420 millimeters.